present my thesis presentation seminar. My topic thesis topic is an eco-critical and post-humanist exploration of how beautiful we were and the black doors of Good Little Bay, a comparative study. Here, topics I am going to discuss are from second one, introduction, literature review, theoretical framework, researching, methodology, critical analysis. There are 5 chapters, and at the end there is references. Introduction. So first, let me tell the background that contemporary planetary crisis. That we know that in recent time we are going through the unpredictable climate disaster. Sometimes we are with the eastern part, so our Asian part is having extra heat wave type weather, and we knew that the western part is kind of cold type, right? There is ice, but recently we can see that in France they are experiencing kind of heat stroke, and many people are dying. So right now, this we need to discuss on these topics, that why this is happening. So my research will discuss on this topic, and 2 books. One is How Beautiful We Were, written by Malone and another one is The Black Doors of Good Little Bay, written by Baron Thomas Mann. And in this paper, thesis, I'll discuss eco-criticism and post-humanism. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Theoretical framework. In this research, I have used mainly 2 broader theories. One is eco-criticism, another one is post-humanism. So these 2 are very broader. To specify my research, I have used 2 subsection or subfield of this broader theoretical part. One is transcorporeality, another one is material eco-criticism. Here I have given some quotation on eco-criticism. So eco-criticism is the study of the relationship between literature and the physical environment. So eco-criticism, we read literature. So in literature, basically we used to read first of all theoretical analysis, after that deconstruction and many more. But eco-criticism gives us new dimension to read it from physical environment and literature's connection. So from environment we can take lesson. The next quotation is that the study of relationship between literature and environment conducted in a spirit of commitment to environmental praxis. So we study environment. What is happening around us? We will try to investigate and identify that what's going on in the environment and what might be the wrong thing. And it is an art-centered approach. So all over the art, whatever on the surface of art, inside of the art, and over the art, everything is in its consideration. And Simon Stark comments, eco-criticism has distinguished itself firstly by its commitment to the natural world as an important thing rather than simply as an object of thematic style. So, eco-criticism expect or reads or try to urges to others to see the art not an object. It urges to see the art as living thing. Okay, next is material eco-criticism. It is a subfield of eco-criticism. So material eco-criticism, as we are saying that eco-criticism says that all this thing, art is as not object here. So the second part is story matter. So it invites us to think from different objects perspective, what we used to objectify. So for example, a river. So we put a dam in between or through a river so that the water moves according to our rules, because we think that it's an object. But the output happens like that. Sometimes we have to face the flash flood. So there are some certain amounts of objects it throws into the Bay of Bengal. If this rivers doesn't take this amount of soil inside of the Bay of Bengal, our whole country's existence could be into the threat. And if we continuously create dams, so it will create a disastrous effect. So that's a story matter. So every matter on this surface of earth has their stories, their perspective. If we just human beings start thinking from others' perspective except human beings, like right now some species are going to end on this earth. So those species which are going to eradicate from this earth, they had some contribution in the food ecosystem or food cycle. So when one species extincts from environment, it causes the whole catastrophe in the cycle, food cycle. So material eco-criticism has investigated the stress is notion that non-human beings, biotic and non-biotic have agency. As I have given example of a river, like that every matter has its contribution in the environment. Like trees, if we cut down lots of trees in this region, it will create the effect of heat, so we will have some extra greenhouse effect. You will see, we will experience extra heat, and we need more and more air condition in our living rooms. Okay, so next is critical post-humanism. So in short, CPH we can use critical post-humanism studies cultural representation, power relation, and discourses that have historically situated the human above other life forms and in control of them. So we know that from the Enlightenment, so human comes at the center of the ecosystem or food chain or whatever. So everything goes under the human control. Human is starting, and many religious views that everything has created for you, and you can use it for your own use whenever and however you like. So recently, so I was watching a video made by. Okay, so the lecturer was a religious scholar. So he was saying that creating bonsai is legal according to the religion, because the whole art, that is not a problem. The problem is he has given that the whole art has been created for the exploration of human beings. Human beings can use anything as their wish if they want to. So that is the problem with, and another critic said that it is not concerned with what comes after human, but applies critical methodology to deconstruct humanist assumptions premised upon binaries. So we may think that we are, so these theories are talking against human, but it is not. From this sentence, it is clear enough that they are not against human. They are trying to connect human and other non-human elements, and so they are trying to break the binary. It's a superiority. So let's coexist with each other. That is the message they are trying to give. Another one is transcorporeality. So when we are talking about matter, and now transcorporeality, so corporeality, it means the human body. And when we add trans, it's beyond. So normally we think that our body is separate from the earth or other non-living species. But in reality, we can see there are so many pores in our skin. There are so many chemical reaction. So if we go into the sun, we will get heat. If we go into the ice, we'll get cold. So we are not separated from the earth. If the heat can attack us or if it affect us in a short time, why don't the pollution? The pollution may affect us in a very short time. And so as the material eco-criticism we are discussing in the previous slide, so matters, if the whole matters are being contaminated, then our body will absorb those. Because for food, for air, or any kind of thing we take to our existence or survival, everything comes from the nature. And if we contaminate or pollute the whole system, ecosystem, how can we expect that it won't affect on us? That's why transcorporeality tries to make us rethink that who we actually are. Okay, research aim. My research aims are investigating the consequence of development in a global south. Second one is that understanding historical roots. Third one, exploring the politics behind anthropocentric development. Number 4, offering alternative perspectives of Western modern civilization. In my next conversation or upcoming slides, we will try to I will try to share the result or my investigation, what I have got from my research aims. Okay, before that, research limitations. So I've got limited lack of time, limited resources. Limited resources because we don't have access to the broader libraries, e-libraries, because we know that everything is available online, but we have lack of accessibility. Our institutional ID also don't provide us lack of access. That's why I couldn't able to get access to broader part. If I could, then it would be more informative and fruitful research. Okay. And another one is that no funding. Funding is important because once a philosopher said the philosopher should not have stomach, but I see I have one. That's why I need to feed myself. And that's why funding is important. Okay. And if I got the fund, then I could do it. I am relying on the secondary resources. If I could get enough funding, I would get the primary data from field work or investigating on the direct fields. Then it would be more fruitful. Okay, so and my research area is limited, and I am not fully neutral. I have tried to contextualize and overview my research with my surrounding, Bangladeshi perspective. That Bangladesh is a part of global south. Broadly, the developing countries, which are the worst victim of modernization, developmentalism, or developments, and industrialization. So as we are becoming victim, so I am affected by it. That's why I thought to research or conduct research on that topic. Okay. Rationale of the research. Part of this is already discussed that Global South is the worst victim of the planetary crisis, and the two books I have taken for my research is from global south, one is from African perspective, another is from South Asian perspective. So, this research would be very much rational with our country. Okay, so we can make people aware that they should be. Okay, so proposed chapterization. Here I have discussed chapter 1, overview of the and contextualization of both novels. I think this has been already discussed. Impact of anthropocentrism and speciesism in India and African societies depicted in the novel. If we see here, so some quotation I have used that human-centered ethical belief that humans alone possess intrinsic value. So anthropocentrism has been presented as the signifier of the demiurge's right to possess and dominate. So anthropocentrism and speciesism, these are two very philosophical sides that which had given us the moral and ethical rights to dominate over the other species. But speciesism is just not about human and non-human things. Sometimes we do classification among humans. Sometimes, so some humans, there is a quotation that some people are more equal than others. That is also inside human beings. That is another speciesism. And when during the slave trade, the white people used to think that the black people don't feel pain. This kind of, and from this philosophical side, they have extorted and expanded the colony, and then they have dominated all over the world. And I have used Faно's quotation that he recognizes that the division between colonizer and colonized is framed by colonizer as a division between species. So what I want to mean that speciesism is not about human and non-human at all. Speciesism may be contextualized inside of the human beings. Okay, challenging industrialization and developmentalism in both novels. So both of the novels has shown that how our art is facing issues for the industrialization. From industrialization has there are 4 types of industrialization. We can say first one has helped us to overcome our muscle power. Second one has given us the power of production. Third one was kind of electricity, electronic devices we have discovered, and fourth right now with AI, which help us to our intellectual, our brain muscle which help us, we can say that. And waste development, capital intensive and resource intensive. So development is not the concept which connects or equal to west and east. For the west, it is resource intensive, and for the east or Asian perspective, it's labor intensive. So in Bangladesh, we see that we are getting garments factories where the environmental rules or eco-consciousness is not that much strong. That's why they can easily pollute the rivers like Turak, Buriganga, and they don't need to pay. And if it happened to the western part, they have to make it more appropriate, and they need to dump their wastes with proper guidelines which is given by their government. So that's why this industrialization and developmental thoughts are not connecting the whole world. It is just West-centric and capital-centric. So from both books I have quoted some lines which will make us understand that how this is happening. The first one, we never forget it, the splendid piece of art it was. That means that they had a land before coming of the company, Textron company. So the company is extract oil, crude oil, and during that they don't care about the surroundings. They just use and expand the oils And first, the river system become contaminated. After that, their land, they cannot have that land become barren field, like wasteland. And after that, the cloud become acid rain if they get. So all over that, so the development wastes. They are riding on cars and making big skyscraping buildings, but what are they having? They are having cancers and like this death-threatening diseases. And whenever they try to raise their voice, so this kind of brutality they experience. And they know that their illness was not ordinary illness. Okay, so next is the black dots of the little way. So here that why people to ensure the development, how the structure can be broken. So first of all, a political party, spread free pesticides, and the pesticides, people from this global south are they are hunger after money or free things. So when they take it, then they put it in their field, and their field become contaminated, and all the crops dies. And not only the dying is just not about starvation. So the whole environment or ecosystem loses its balance, and in that area, it's being based on Mumbai, India's fictional area, connecting with the real area Mumbai. And okay, I'll try wrap up it within 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, so alternate visions of this research that rethinking that we want that the whole earth should think from others' perspective, environments or non-living beings or rivers perspective or maybe a tree's perspective, that what are their contributions, how they are struggling, should we cut them? If we make them eradicate, is it going to be a good thing or not? And localization, so if we use our local resources, local plants, local trees, if we can evaluate them, then this can help us the dependency or on the developed world. We need to think multiple developmental concepts, not the West-centric concepts. And we need to connect. We need to connect ourselves with nature and other entities. And human beings should break all the binaries as they are superior, they are the guardian of the galaxy. So they should not think like that. They should be a part of it. Because if they start exploiting or they exploit extortion of that much, so it is the human race that will first eradicate from this universe. Okay. Thank you for your patience, time. If you have any questions.
Question करूँ? सर क्वेश्चन करूँ? सर क्वेश्चन करूँ? सर क्वेश्चन करूँ? अभी
If you have any question, you may ask. Yes.
I have a question. My question is that I have read an article on the basis of the condition of river in Bangladesh. So that is, there are two definitions of river. One is natural definition, another is business oriented or purpose oriented definition. So natural definition of river usually acknowledges the river is the embodied identity. So this sort of identity has given the agency to the river that you have clarified in your theoretical framework, that is called eco-criticism. And the business oriented definition always supports or invites some kinds of oppressive agency, oppressive activities like creating a dam or manipulating the river. So this is the thing. So my question is that in this term, how can we establish or how can we establish a contextual counter narrative against this purpose oriented definition of the river? So can you please explain it in the context of our Bangladesh, because we are suffering so much from the very previous time in this what should I say, in this kind of urgencies. So can you please explain this in the context of Bangladesh? I want to know I want to listen the answer in your own idea or own opinion. Can you please contextualize the eco-criticism on the basis of that?
Okay, thank you. So, river. Yeah. So, what is happening with the river? We know that every government of Bangladesh is coming and saying that we'll set a dam or we'll build kind of bridge over across the river, and it will help us to communicate. But they are just trying to create kind of eye-catching development. But when we need to have some groundwork, we need to make people aware of it.
Yes.
So that's why the academia, our organic intellectuals, and in recent times, the social media influencers, they are as a part of young generation, and they might, if they think that the art should be changed and it should be sustainable, first of all, because before changing we need to sustain, because if art doesn't sustain, we won't sustain or survive. That's why, so if we make people aware of it, then it will affect on the policy making, because our country is a democratic country. And the people should not get the kind of free or eye-catching things. Like, so in another book, I have given reference that they have got free pesticides and used it on their field, and all the crops have died. And then they have, using this crisis, they have done a kind of political election, and they won the election. So such kind of things happen with our country. So we need to first of all raise awareness among people. Secondly, the organic intellectuals who has the widely acceptance of the country. There are some people, you know that, and they should give the voice, raise their voice. And thirdly, the influencers, they can, and we can do one thing, as we are the student of literature. We can put our footprints on filmmaking. So if we do this influencing thing, filmmaking, raising awareness on these topics, then only then it can be a possible solution. Thank you. I mean the eco-critical part. So if it is about, if we say the eco-critical part, then so building a dam definitely destroys the other part of the river. And if we just put concretes on the banks of rivers, it also breaks natural ecosystem, because there are so many species relies on this. So from eco-critical perspective, we need to keep as it is, and we should not interfere in everything. We are part of nature. We should not think that we're the guardian of nature.
Yes, of course. So my point was that in a very short term, my point was that the localization of eco-criticism, and you have explained the point very well. Thank you very much. I have got my answer.
Okay, what is it abstract? Is it abstract?
Yes, sir. I was.
It's like abstract. I can't see anywhere.
I couldn't able to make it.
Second, in introduction, you could have mentioned